And I'd rather be shiny, well done like a wealthy woman's neck. Oh, hi. Wow, I didn't see you there. Wow, I guess it is 2 p.m. Eastern. Oh my God. Okay. Don't worry. I would not do my book launch wearing a pajama onesie. That would be ridiculous. I do it wearing a pajama set. Uh, wow. Wow. Well, thank you for joining me. You weren't supposed to see this. Let me bring on the host. Hello. Thank you so very much for coming to the crappy online book launch of Lulu Miller, not best-selling New York Times author. We're very pleased to have her here. I haven't actually had a chance to read the book because, I had some looking out the window to do. But, Lulu brings a lot to the table. She brings silverware to the table when I ask her to set it, and so let's give her a warm welcome, if you will, please, Lulu Miller, please, Lulu Miller. Uh, hi. Well, thank you guys all so much for coming to this thing. I'm gonna just establish a few ground rules for my book launch, my crappy online book launch. So one is that I have set a timer. This is going till 2:30 Eastern, no longer. I don't want to waste your precious time, even though I already am. So it's going to cut out hard at 2:30, and the alarm's going to go off. Number two, we have a special guest who's going to be joining us in a little bit. She is a moderator. So as I read my little excerpt, I want you to think about questions that you might have for me. And she will be the one picking them. So I don't know. She's a person who has dedicated her life to caring about what audience members have to say. So I don't know if she's going to go for softballs. Like, I would give her your juicy questions, your good stuff. She's a little bit mischievous. I'm really excited for you to get to meet her. I want to keep it a surprise. But she's a little bit fluid on the animal-human spectrum where she falls. But she is literally doing incredible work with the COVID crisis right now. I'm not kidding. She's an amazing person. So she will be picking your questions. So just start throwing your questions into the comments section, and she's going to pick 3 and ask them to me at the end. And then, okay, so those are the ground rules. Ask some questions. Now, okay, so what is this book? Basically, what I'm going to do here today, in addition to eventually have some champagne, but you can pour yours now, is read just a very short excerpt from this weird-ass book that is my, am I swear on here? I'll try to not. This weird-ass book, this weird book that is my heart, kind of wrapped in a foil fish. I've given this thing my all for 10 years. It's weird. And so people often ask, like, what is it about? And in certain ways, it's a book that takes down the concept of categories, or tries to, so it's a little bit inherently hard to categorize. It is a nonfiction adventure story about a mad scientist from the 1800s and early 1900s who was on a quest to discover the hidden order of the universe, and along the way, his journey was plagued with all kinds of chaos and destruction. And when I found out about him and the way that he sort of fought against chaos, I began to wonder, like, is this guy a fool or a hero? And so I set out to find out what became of him. And along the way, my own life kind of fell into destruction. And so some memoir trickled into the book. And then there was this weird philosophical plot twist that my research led me into that his work kind of paved the way for. So I guess it's part memoir, part biography, and some philosophical weirdness. So with that in mind, I would like to poll you, kind listeners who have joined me from afar. about what kind of excerpt I should read. So I'm going to throw a poll into the comment section. Bear with me. Facebook is a thing that I don't use that much, but here we go. It's coming. Is this award-winning use of your time? Okay, you guys, it's coming. It's coming. Where was it? Oh, here we go. Here we go, polls. Very intuitive design, Facebook. Okay, so hopefully there is a poll in the comments. Moderator, is there a poll in the comments? Yes, we got the thumbs. Okay, so think about that. Vote. I'm going to give you a minute to vote. What kind of excerpt should I read? Vote in the comments. And in the meantime, I would like to take this moment to say, support your local indies. I forgot to write a song, but my heart loves the indies and they need our rights and wrongs because they are a place in our community that gives us immunity from ignorance. Books. Indie bookstores are hurting so bad right now. And if you could do anything during this launch, it would make me so happy if you bought a book. It does not need to be my book. It does not need to be my book. Just buy a book. There's so many amazing books out right now. There's so many amazing books out since books started. But I'm going to take this moment, again, as you vote for what excerpt I should read from my Cryptic Weird book, to just tell you about 2 books I am most excited about that I just bought this morning. Number 1, Wow, No Thank You, by Samantha Irby, who is a treasure on this earth that none of us are lucky enough to have. She's a comedian. She is a beautiful writer. She will make you feel at home even though you're not cool enough to be friends with her. So yeah, check Wow, No Thank You by Samantha Irby. Essays, humor, very incisive takes. And then the other one I bought this morning is Why We Swim by Bonnie Swee, who is a beautiful writer. And this book, I believe its birthday is today too, so happy birthday. But it's all about swimming and essays and why we swim and what that has to do with other animals. And I don't know what it's really about because I haven't read it, but I'm really excited to because swimming is one of the only things that chills this bad place out. Okay, so now we're gonna settle it down. We're at a book launch after all. It's no place for disco lights. Thanks, Alexa, for this most amazing Christmas present a couple years ago, changed our life. Okay, so what are we doing now? So now we need to know the results of the poll, I guess. Moderator, can you tell me who won? Can you text me?
Emo feelings. Emo feelings.
Emo feelings. Okay. All right. It is 2:09 Eastern Centric East Coasters from whence I hail. I'm now in Chicago. Also, the weather today, what was it doing? It was snow, it was buds on the trees. It's confused. It's celebrating. I'm taking that as it's celebrating. Okay, so my excerpt that I'm going to read is, oh no, what's that? A sound of a special guest coming in here. Hold on, technology. Kate Samworth. Kate Samworth. Kate Samworth, the illustrator of the book, is here to join us. Kate, can you say hi?
Hi.
This is Kate Samworth. Actually, I did kind of come up with a song about her. Okay. I'll see if I remember it. Kate Samworth, Kate Samworth, she is the woman who gave birth to the drawings in my book, which you can see. If you buy the book, you can take a look. Kate Samworth, Kate Samworth, she's a force of genius and mirth. She used to be a punk star, but she left it to make art. And for that, I'm really freaking grateful because it's what makes my book palatable. So yeah, Kate. Okay, I did not tell Kate why she was asked here today, except to say we'd like you for 2 minutes, because I've got 2 book-related questions for you. But first of all, where are you?
Can you not see me?
No, I can see you, but for our lovely audience who is like half at another meeting and kind of watching this.
I'm in quarantine. There's a bug going around. I don't know if you heard.
I heard.
I'm in Tacoma Park.
You're in Tacoma Park in DC,
Maryland,
and you're safe thus far.
Yep. In my studio in my beautiful new apartment.
All right. So, okay, here are the 2 questions I've got.
I'm hoping there's more musical numbers.
It's what?
I'm hoping there's more musical numbers coming up today. In this
there just might be. There just might be. Okay, here are my 2 questions. Well, actually, first, audience, this is so weird. Let me just say, this is so weird to be thinking that it just feels like I'm alone. But there appear to be some people there. I'm also going to plug in my computer. So things I should have done already. Okay. So Kate, honestly, Kate is Google her right now. Leave the event. Just go Google Kate's work. Kate Samworth. She, again, used to be like involved in the punk scene. She's a mysterious, ever youthful, but has been around for a while. She then turned to do illustration and had this weird, twisted idea for a really dark, like too dark for children's book called Aviary Wonders. And it's about an apocalyptic future where there are no birds, so children have to order birds from a catalog and they can design the parts and the guy sends them back, and it's like really scary and maybe where we're headed. So she illustrates this thing, oil paints, it's beautiful, wins the Kirkus Prize, her first book ever. Her brain is amazing, and I've known her for years, and ever since I started to write this weird book, which I initially thought was an essay, it had a fairy tale quality to me, a sort of dark, almost like spell book, parable, spooky thing. And I knew I wanted Kate's work alongside it, that the book didn't exist without her work, sort of drawing out the fantastical themes and showing the magic of it and the darkness. And it eventually worked. Thank you, Simon & Schuster, for paying artists. And we got her to illustrate the book. And so each chapter gets 1 illustration. They're these intricate things you fall into. They're so beautiful. And so, Kate, my question for you is what is your favorite illustration in the book?
I think it was the one of the celestial map, just because that's the thing that I'm most obsessed with at the moment.
All right, I'm going to show this up. This one, yeah? So yeah. This is the illustration from the prologue. Yeah, can you just tell us, I don't know, what's your favorite? What do you love about it?
Oh, I just loved doing it because I had been to a museum in Coimbra, Portugal a few years ago and seen these celestial maps from the 18th century that were so mind-blowingly beautiful and mysterious that I couldn't wait to create my own. So it was fun to get the chance to do that for your book.
I'm Ken Burnsing it. Okay. Twinkle. Okay, question number 2, and then we're going to kick you out and go back to this hot mess. Bring my fish back in here. Okay, so what was the most what was the most annoying illustration to work with me on?
Well, none of them were annoying, honestly.
Well, like,
but the hardest was
and she's diplomatic. She's got it all.
I have to remember the chapter name, but the delusion, on delusion.
Oh, yes.
That was the hardest one to figure out how to bring the fairy tale quality and mystery to the illustration.
Okay, I'm going to show what she did because she nailed it. Okay, so this is for chapter 8 on delusion, and this is our main. Sorry, the camera is weirdly backwards, so it's hard to. But yeah, so this is far along in the journey, and we've got this scientist guy with a lot of incredible charms and we're starting to learn some other things, and we're learning about how Delusion may actually serve you really well in your life. Morality be damned. And this is her gorgeous illustration of that, of this kind of two-headed man. And it goes along with the text really beautifully. One of my favorite parts of this is that you, again, like a fairy tale, like a little kid, the chapter starts with this intricate illustration, and you're like, why is there a mouse and a knife? And then you read the chapter, and it all fills together. So thank you, Kate. You are
Before
what
we
makes
go,
book magic.
I want to present you with the Multimedia Award, because not only are you a writer, but an incredible puppetress and songstress. So you get the antler.
Ooh, thank you.
This is a very coveted Writers Award.
Thank you. Oh, you know what I'm going to do? Right before I read the excerpt, Kate made this beautiful little slideshow of the illustrations. So here they go. If I can figure out how to share a screen. Dun, dun, dun. Okay, bye. Okay, here we go. Oh, no. Yay! Okay, so bye, Kate. We love you. Thank you. All right. So now, in paying homage to LeVar Burton of Reading Rainbow, who has an amazing podcast for adults, vaguely sci-fi, vaguely horror stories that he reads with his beautiful voice. And before every story, he takes a deep breath. So I'm going to do that, but I'm also going to take a deep sip of champagne. And please join me. Oh, opening champagne. Yeah, it's a launch. This launch not brought to you by Nikki Fu, but Nikki Fu, everybody's favorite mid-level champagne. Okay. Oh man, thank you. I see there are like really people here. Thank you for joining me. I was so sad about having to do this, and it's like a little bit fun. So cheers. Okay. We're doing emo feelings. 12 minutes to go, people. Don't forget, ask your questions. Our last special guest will be picking them. And I won't have any input, so ask the juicy ones. Okay. Here we go. This is from chapter 3, which is called A Godless Interlude. And that's, sorry. I don't know why this is so hard but it's this kind of stormy sea. All right. And let's begin. Maybe Cape Cod is fertile ground for existential transformation. Something about the metals in its sandy soil catalyzing metaphysical shifts. I don't know. All I know is that I, too, had my entire worldview rearranged when I was visiting its shores. It had just happened to the main character. Weird geographical coincidence. Author gonna milk the meaning out of that coincidence. Continue. It happened when I was about 7 years old, and oddly enough, it was that moment that would pave the way for my obsession with David Starr Jordan. That would make him the kind of person I hoped could save me when my life later unraveled. It was early morning, early summer. I was on vacation with my family in Wellfleet, Massachusetts, just 50 miles as the crow flies from Penakees Island. I was standing on the deck with my father, trading off a pair of clunky black binoculars, gazing out at a yellow and green expanse of marsh which rolled out before us. We were trying to get a better look at a white dot we had noticed in the distance. My dad was a tall, mustachioed man with a mane of jet black hair in those days, cut-off jean shorts, no shirt, and a fuzzy, friendly belly, nearly always offering a pastel fleck of lint. The rest of the house, my mom, my 2 older sisters, hi guys, our cats, RIP, were still asleep. Unable to get the lenses to focus properly, I just handed the binoculars back to my dad. I kept staring at the white dot nested in the reeds, wondering if it was a swan, a buoy, something more exciting, when for some reason that I cannot recall, I asked my dad, "What's the meaning of life?" Maybe it had been the expansiveness of the marsh, which ended at the ocean, which ended I didn't understand where. I pictured an edge with sailboats tipping off. That made me suddenly wonder what we were all doing here. My dad paused, raising one eyebrow behind the binoculars. Then he turned to me grinning and announced, "Nothing!" It felt like he had been waiting eagerly for my whole life for me to finally ask. He informed me that there is no meaning of life. There is no point. There is no God. No one watching you or caring in any way. There is no afterlife, no destiny, no plan. And don't believe anyone who tells you there is. These are all things people dream up to comfort themselves against the scary feeling that none of this matters and you don't matter. But the truth is, none of this matters and you don't matter. Then he patted me on the head. I have no idea what my face would have looked like then. Ashen? It was as if a big feather comforter had just been ripped off the world. Chaos, he informed me, was our only ruler. This massive swirl of dumb forces was what made us accidentally and would destroy us imminently. It cared nothing for us, not our dreams, our intentions, our most virtuous of actions. Never forget, he said, pointing to the pine-needly soil beneath the deck, as special as you might feel, you are no different than an ant. A bit bigger, maybe, but no more significant. He paused, consulting the map of hierarchies that existed in his head. Except, do I see you aerating the soil? Do I see you feeding on timber to accelerate processing? I do not. So you are arguably less significant to the planet than an ant. Then, to really drive his point home, he threw his arms wide. I thought maybe this was an invitation for a hug, for him to say, "Just kidding, you matter." But instead he said, "Okay, now picture that this is all of time." He palpated the vast invisible timeline in front of his chest. Humans have only been around this long. On the word "this," he theatrically pinched his fingers together. "And we'll probably be gone soon. And if you zoom away from the Earth, well," he clutched, "then we're really nothing. There are planets, and beyond them, more solar systems." I'm not sure if he used the exact words, but nearly 2 decades later, when I heard astronomer Neil deGrasse Tyson say his famous line, "We are a speck on a speck on a speck on a speck," I heard the call of my father. I don't think I had the language as a 7-year-old to put into words the cold feeling that was starting to swirl up my lungs. So then what's the point of any of this? Why go to school? Why glue macaroni to paper? But I spent my childhood quietly inspecting my father's behaviors to find out. He's a lively man, a biochemist with shaky hands who studies ions, the particles that carry the electricity that powers all life, lightning, heartbeat, even thought itself. He doesn't use seat belts or return addresses. He swims where it is prohibited, and one day he came home declaring that he was done with sleeves after they had toppled his test tubes one too many times. In a huff, he stormed up toward his closet with a pair of scissors and then spent the next few years going to work dressed in a way that can best be described as academic pirate. He worships the family dog, who is naughty, who just passed away like 3 days ago, R.I.P. Magwitch. Refuses to follow recipes, enjoys sampling the taste of his discarded test subjects, frog legs, electric ray organs, though my mom drew the line at mice livers, refusing to let him enter her kitchen to fry up the contents of his greasy paper lunch bag. Once, as he and I were walking into the retirement home where his mother lived, an old woman in a wheelchair accidentally cut us off. "Slow down," my father shouted, and dropped to the floor, writhing and grimacing as if to insinuate she'd hit him. I was cringing, embarrassed, worried that he would scare this poor woman to literal death. But the light that snapped on in her eye, the smile that unfurled across her face made me realize that she could handle the joke, was hungry for the joke, for being seen as a person who can handle a joke. "You don't matter," seems to fuel his every step, his every bite. So live as you please. He spent years riding a motorbike, drinks copious amounts of beers, and enters the water whenever possible with the belliest of flops. He seems to permit himself just one lie to constrain his otherwise voracious hedonism, to form a kind of moral code. While other people don't matter, either, treat them like they do. He has made my mom coffee almost every morning for half a century. He is devoted to his students. They came to our holiday meals. They sometimes lived in our house. Our kitchen table is etched with thousands of tiny numbers carved in his shaky hands, a physical record of the countless nights he spent trying to get my sisters and me to comprehend the beauty of math. What could be a grim reality has instead pumped his life full of vigor, has made him live big and good. I have strived my whole life to follow in his nihilistic, clown-shoed footsteps, to stare our pointlessness in the face and waddle along toward happiness because of it. but I haven't always been so good at it. You Don't Matter has often had a different effect on me. All right. Then it gets darker, but we're going to cut it there with 4 minutes to go. 3 questions. Each one's going to have a 1-minute answer. Introducing our special guest moderator. The Fish! AKA Jennifer Brandel. She started her career in radio for a few years, worked at the WBEZ newsroom. Noticed there was kind of a little blind spot, a lack in the newsroom, which was that it was mostly stories were being assigned by editors and producers. She was curious what the audience felt, and so she started this show called Curious City, which then turned in where they take listener questions and turn them into news stories, which then turned into a technology called Hearken, which helps newsrooms and all kinds of companies actually find out what their listeners and audiences care about. She does all kinds of amazing things, and she is here to listen to what you care about and ask me 3 questions, each of which I only can have a minute to answer. And she's helping Chicago with the COVID crisis to see what people need in emergency. She's amazing. Jen Brandel, aka The Fish!
Wow. Thank you, Lulu. That was a heck of an introduction. Back to you and this incredible book that we are all so excited to be celebrating right now. So there were wonderful questions. I'm not going to lie. I'm going to combine a few because I just couldn't pick them. It was an embarrassment of riches of these genius questions. So we're going to start fun. Then we're going to go into like more abstract. And then we're going to end in the personal, which is how I feel like a lot of your stories go. All right. So
and you're going to cut me off, right? You'll watch the time.
I'm going to cut you off. I'm going to cut you off.
Good mouth noise?
Yep. I'm going to go beep, boop, beep, boop.
Okay.
All right. So from Lauren Ober, she wants to know, and then I'm going to read another question with this. She wants to know what the elevator pitch was for this book. Like, how do you package taxonomy, murder, eugenics, despair, chaos, and your kookiness? And then this is also combined with, in case you can answer both of these, Jacqueline Langholtz. If your book had 2 parent books, as in 2 books had a child, which would you put together and what would it make?
Oh my God, amazing questions. Okay, the elevator pitch totally sucked. I don't know what it was. 13 out of 14 editors agreed. Don't take this book. One editor, John Cox. Bless you, John Cox. He was at Simon & Schuster. He saw the light. I don't even think my agent may be able to correct me. I think that it was so hard to describe. We just submitted a partial book. We were just like, here's this weird book. I'd written about half of it. And I think we did I think it was like, I think I called it an adventure story about a scientist, the dangers of trying to order a world ruled by chaos with some feelings. From NPR Science Reporter was the pitch. Okay, the parents would be The Search for Delicious by Natalie Babbitt. Oh my God, which is right here with me. Hold on. This question was not planted, but I just have her near at all times. This is definitely this is a young adult novel. It is magical, but it's so good. It has illustrations, one for each chapter. This was my favorite book growing up. Given to me by my sister Alexa. Thank you, Alexa. And there's a lot of wordplay. And then maybe A Walk in the Woods by Bill Bryson, where it's just like a dad walks through nature and tells you facts. So those were the parents.
Perfect. Next question, Lul Kowski. As you were researching and writing, what was the biggest mind F, in case there are children watching?
Well, for me, it was, without to reveal too much, for me, it was the American involvement, if not leadership in that was the time, in the eugenics movement. That was a massive education to me, and still wows me. But I remember the first draft I wrote of that chapter, which just shows how much we were legalizing it, proponents of eugenic sterilization, all kinds of eugenic policies, even entertained execution, entertained polygamy for really rich, wealthy people. I mean, there's this crazy history. Was never taught a lick of it growing up. And the first time I wrote that chapter, it just came out in a like, oh my God, why didn't I know this? And why do we create our whole national identity in opposition to it? We were the people who fought it, but we, in many ways, were the people who started it. That blew my mind.
Wow. Okay. Last question, unless you want a bonus one after this, if people want to stay on for a minute. Okay. So this is a double one as well. Hannah Rosen wanted to know, how did you decide what personal information to include? And Jill Mason Blake wanted to know, does the memoir portion have a theme of a hero or a villain to it?
Woo! Okay. There was very little memoir in the first draft. My editor, John Cox, said, why do you care about this guy so much? Like, kind of pretty writing, but like, why do you care about this random scientist? And so he kind of encouraged me to do some more free writing around why I actually cared. I knew why I cared. It had to do with a lot of shameful stuff that I honestly still haven't told most people, but is now unleashed to the world. And that stuff came out in big, messy drafts, which over literally years, we shaved back to like these kind of 3 or 4 page dollops through the book. It's not like spread with memoirs, just these little chunks. But I think he wanted to know what was the emotional connection. And it was a big process of like messy stuff, whittling it back. And then is it hero or villain? I mean, I still think it's villain. Like, I still feel ashamed about, not good about some of the things in there that I have done. But like everyone, and even like the protagonist, I think there's both. And I don't think hero or villain exists. Sorry, that's such a liberal arts answer, but that's what I got.
Wonderful.
Okay, so that's it. So to say farewell, I'm going to throw the last thing. Thank you for coming, everybody. I'm going to throw this link in the comments and on Twitter. We have a questionable prize, but I'm offering the questionable prize of my appearance, 15 minutes at your book club. I'm going to put up a link with an entry form. Tell me why your book club is super cool. And I will pick a winner at the end of the week. And if you read my book, I'll come and you can come ask me literally anything because life's short. So ask some questions. I think that is a book lunch wrap. Let's get some lights back on here. And then we get the mode so it moves a little. Oh, there we go. Okay.
Woo! On behalf of everyone watching, Lulu, we're so excited to read this, experience it, look at the art. Congratulations.
Thank you. And again, buy one book today. Doesn't need to be mine, but buy it from your local indie shop, please. They need your love. We love them. Mwah!